Open for business. Those are the words used to describe the St. Louis Cardinals and their offseason. But one name keeps popping up that I'm not so sure that they should be trading away.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafron, a former national radio sports anchor, born and raised in St. Louis and a lifetime Cardinals fan, and welcome to Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the number one sports podcast network. Yeah, buddy. Good job, everybody. We did it. Thank you to our everydayers for being here with us all along. And for those of you who are new, welcome in. I hope you enjoy the content. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. On today's show, we've got an update on some of the Cardinals prospects in the Arizona Fall League. They got quite a few of them. One of them actually just got named Pitcher of the Week, so that's cool. We do have Cardinal Confessions as well, where you get to sound off on things and rumors and whatever it is we're talking about that day. This is where I kind of go through, kind of like a mailbag, but I don't like calling it mailbag because how much mail do you really get anymore? So Cardinal Confessions is what we call it. But we start today with the latest from the GM meetings. Hasn't been any trades or anything like that taking place just yet. So nothing that huge has happened. But there are rumors, there are discussions going on that have to do with the St. Louis Cardinals. And it's not exactly breaking news for anybody that's listened to Locked On Cardinals, that the Cardinals are going to make some deals at some point this offseason. Everydayers have heard me discussing trade scenarios for a few weeks now. Some of them are legitimate sounding, where you're like, oh, that's not so bad. Some of them are wild fantasy type trades. You know, yesterday we had Thomas Gauvain on, and he brought up the idea of trading for the Twins' Joe Ryan, but made it very, very clear that that is a dream scenario. That is a dream trade, fantasy land, if you will, to get somebody of Ryan's capabilities. And he doesn't expect it to actually happen, but he was having some fun with, you know what would be cool is if you got Joe Ryan, right? With the idea of adding somebody like Ryan's caliber of pitching. And we all do this. We get this inkling in our head. You know, we all want to play. We all think that like real life sports is like fantasy sports and you can just trade away people like it's no big deal. We get these ideas of, hey, why not this guy? I do it all the time. Especially when I see trades go down amongst other teams. And I'm like, why the hell weren't we in on that? We could have made that type of deal. We all remember the Juan Soto trade talks, right? We're all trying to figure out how to get Juan Soto to St. Louis. It didn't come to fruition. He goes to the Padres instead. But there are things that dictate those trades. First off, relationships between certain GMs. You'll notice a lot of teams continue to work well with each other. You see more trades between the two teams because they have a comfortability between them. There's also personnel preference. Some people have better players than others. There's contracts, of course. You know, it all goes into it. But one thing is for certain, to use an old radio term, which is how I grew up in the business, phone lines are open. Call us. Dial us up. Caller number 9, you win. But phone lines are open for any teams interested in chatting with Heimblum and the Cardinals about any sort of trades, really. And with the GM meetings going on in Las Vegas, MLB Network insider John Paul Morosi was quoted as saying that, I believe the Cardinals are open for business in terms of potentially moving some of their more veteran players. Now, again, that is not breaking news. We know this. But hearing national media people talk about it, it just feels a little different, right? It feels a little bit more legitimate because people in St. Louis and the people who cover the Cardinals, we've been talking about this crap since the trade deadline of guys that we should be getting rid of by now. But now that the GM meetings are going on, you're going to get some national attention about it all. It just feels a little bit different than the guys and gals around St. Louis talking about it. Morosi mentioned four names on MLB Network on their hot stove. Let's start with the obvious ones, Nolan Arenado and Sonny Gray. Morosi stated there is a very strong likelihood that Arenado has played his last game with St. Louis. Duh. Yeah, we get it. Everydayers, you know this. You've been here this entire time. This has all but been confirmed already, not only after the way they brought him out of the game at Busch Stadium at the end of last year, although it wasn't as cool as the Pujols, Molina, Wainwright moment, but they gave him his moment, right? They gave him a moment where he was in the game, and then they pulled him, and he got to salute the crowd and walk up the field. Sadly, there was hardly anybody there at Busch Stadium to watch it happen, which is kind of miserable when you think about it. But we already know that this is probably, We've also heard Chaim Bloom on numerous occasions talk about trade talks involving Nato, saying that, they want to find a different fit for him at this point in his career. His decline has been drastic on the offensive side. Can still pick it over there at third base pretty good, but you can't deny the numbers offensively. They bring up the career worst 666 OPS through 436 plate appearances this past season. Is due a total of $31 million over the next 2 seasons. I honestly don't even think it's the money that really is the driving force here anymore. Obviously, it's part of it. The Cardinals are going to probably have to eat some money to move them. But I think it's more of like doing what's best for Arenado and for the Cardinals, who have seen 3 straight years of decline offensively. And they want to open up some lanes for top prospect J.J. Weatherhold. And whether you like it or not, I think Nolan Gorman's going to get another crack at things and get a chance at being a full-timer in 2026. Sonny Gray, we know he's been solid for the Cardinals, at least in my opinion. I know some wish his numbers would have been better. But I've been a guy that is backed Sonny, saying that he's actually pitched better than most people realize. Since he got here, the whole thing has been, he's not a number one. He's not an ace. Don't call him that. He's not your typical number one guy at this point in his career. And yes, the Cardinals should have done better surrounding him with at least one more top tier guy after he got here, but they didn't. And so Sonny catches hell for not being Paul Skeens. It just is what it is at this point. But other teams who do have established starters would love to add a guy like Sonny Gray to their rotations. The price of business is the hard part here, because Sonny is going to make $35 million next year with a $30 million club option for 2027. If Gray's team, whoever has him, exercises that option, he can still choose to opt out and become a free agent if he wants to. On top of that, both of these guys have no trade clauses. Just like Nato, dealing Gray is going to be difficult because he could tell you where the hell he wants to go. We felt the pain last year when Arenado had a chance to leave and go to Houston. There was a deal in place. We don't know what was in that deal, how much money they were eating, what players were coming back. We don't know. But we know there was a deal in place ready to rock, and Arenado said, no, I don't want to go to Houston. I don't really trust them as far as their commitment to winning, even though they were still very good last year. And he got stuck in St. Louis for the whole year. So we don't know what's going to happen here. They could strike a deal with another team and Sonny put the Knicks on it and say, nope, not doing it. Questions about both of these deals, if they're going to happen. How much of the money are the Cardinals willing to eat to move forward? What teams is Sonny willing to go to? Who does Nato have on his list this time around? Has it expanded from last year when there wasn't as much interest as maybe he thought there'd be? Morosi also said that there was a lot of interest in Donovan. We've covered why Donnie is coveted. We talked about this on Monday, so if you want to go into a deeper dive into that discussion, you can go back and check that out. But there's a lot of reasons to like him. It's the same reasons why we like him in St. Louis. Versatility, good clubhouse guy. He's not expensive yet. Was an all-star last season. Good bat-to-ball skills. Teams competing for a title next season who legitimately believe that they are 1 or 2 pieces away would love to have a guy like Brendan Donovan on their team and on their squad next year. The Cardinals should ask a lot for him because he's worth it. Like, we cannot have another Tommy Edman situation. Okay, that can't happen again, where Tommy Edman becomes a big piece of the puzzle for the Dodgers to win that first title, goes off in the playoffs. The Cardinals are stuck with Eric Fetty, who flames out quickly and never lived up to whatever he was doing with the White Sox. And that was it. That's it. That's all you got. That's all you got to show for it. We had Tommy Pham for like 2 seconds, but it in the end, you're like, okay, that trade sucked. You don't want to have that problem again, right? So Cardinals should ask for a lot for him. And the last guy he names was newly crowned Silver Slugger winner Alec Burleson. And this is the one where I scratch my head a little bit. I scratched my head a little bit. And don't get me wrong, Morosi didn't say, hey, they're going to trade Burly. That's not what he said. But he implied that there's certainly interest around the league in acquiring him. And I know there are two sides to this. There always are when it comes to these situations. There's the fan side of me, and then there's the business side. I'm going to tell you my stance on it. Plus, we're going to go through your responses on this particular subject because we got a lot of traction on X about this particular subject. So we'll get to that coming up in our Cardinal Confessions, which are next on Locked On Cardinals. The NFL season is back, and honestly, there's nothing better than being in the stadium amongst your people. Something, even amongst the visiting team, right? Where you have some fun going back and forth between them, talk a little smack. But it's fun to be surrounded by fans cheering on your team. But getting those tickets can be a hassle, right? You have to deal with the queues. You got to deal with login screens. You got to figure out your passwords. You got prices jumping up at checkout. It's very, very frustrating. It's why I use Game Time, though. Game Time is the app that gives the advantage back to fans. If you haven't tried it yet, please do it. Like if you want to jump on some St. Louis Blues tickets, you know, they got a win last night against Calgary, which was nice. Got a little hectic there for a minute, but they ended up pulling away with the victory. But you can get tickets. It's fast. It's easy. It's backed by the Game Time guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. All your fees are included. It's all up front. So the price you see is the price you pay. Very, very simple. You can see the exact view from the seat before you buy it. Maybe, that's a good deal. And then you're like, I don't really like that angle. Switch it up. You can go somewhere else. Faster, cheaper, less stressful than any other way you're going to buy tickets. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Again, terms apply. That's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. I found this applause button, and I love it. You can also do a gong noise. Anyhow, if you enjoy daily Cardinals content, you can follow the podcast on X at @LO_Cardinals. We're on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals as well. Trading Alec Burleson. All right, so the debate is on. The reasons for trading Arenado and Sonny. I feel like they're pretty obvious, right? They're veterans. They're very expensive. Coming towards the end of their careers. Cardinals are on a path right now where they're trying to rebuild things more than anything. They're going younger. They make sense. Trading Donovan. Also, the reasons why, or like I said earlier, the reasons why we like him as well is why other teams would want him too. So those are obvious reasons. I don't have to like the idea of trading Donovan or Sonny Gray. I think there are reasons why you should hang on to him if you are rebuilding, because you want those guys around to teach what the younger guys are doing. But that doesn't always happen, right? You know, Sonny Gray wants out, then he wants out. But I understand why you would be listening on trades for these guys. My stance on trading Alec Burleson, though, I still don't understand how trading him makes a whole lot of sense unless you're overwhelmed by an offer. You know, John Mozeliak used to say nobody is untradeable because you can always get an offer that is just incredible that you wouldn't be able to say no to. When it comes to Burly, I'm in that boat right now. If somebody comes calling and wants to drop a fat offer on the table and be like, dude, this is how bad we want him. We're willing to give you this, and this. Okay. You got to get something incredibly good in return. The Godfather offer, if you will, an offer you can't refuse. But if I don't get that, what is the point? Like, why do we have to get rid of him? Why is that chatter among people right now? You know, Burly is young. He's 26, going to be 27 this month. But he's cheap. He's under control until 2029. Yes, he's arbitration eligible over that time, so his salary is going to go up. But that's just life of running a baseball team. salaries escalate as people get older and become better. He's been one of your most consistent hitters over the last couple seasons. Has gotten better against lefties. So he's not in that, well, he's only a platoon guy. He doesn't have that platoon handicap against him anymore after what he did last year. I realize that he's not a stud at any certain defensive position. But on a team who needs offense, doesn't have a lot of it currently at the minor league level, especially in the outfield that's ready to, penetrate the team right now. I don't see how shipping him off is going to help you unless you get overwhelmed by an offer, which could happen, I suppose, but I don't think it's likely. Now, we've got some comments here. This is our Cardinal Confession time where I read your thoughts, your comments, your arguments on whatever the subject is. Right now, we're talking about the idea of trading Burly away. So some people are on board. There are people who are like, no. I've seen people say, if you trade Burly, I'm out. I'm done, which is not true. We all know it. You'll still watch him. But the first idea, because I want to talk to the people who, are coming up with reasons why you get rid of him. And the first idea that's been brought up by a few people is that the salary dump and that ownership is being cheap. He's making $2.1 million in 2026. And although that's big money to us common folk, that is peanuts in the baseball world. So I don't know how that's a salary dump. I don't think ownership and the DeWitts are batting an eye at $2.1 million for somebody that's doing what Burly is doing. There's also trade him now to avoid paying him more later. Again, that comes with the territory, guys. Every young player you develop and bring up, if he's good, which you want him to be, is going to eventually make more money. If Burly was a free agent after next year, if he was like in the Brendan Donovan boat, then I'd get it. I'd understand it more, but he's not, and he won't be for quite a while, so I don't see what the rush is. One of the reasons why people say you got to get rid of him now, his value is at his highest. We kind of learned this the hard way with Ryan Helsley last year, didn't we? Where they didn't trade him. They held on to him. Same with Eric Fetty, that they didn't trade these guys in the offseason thinking that, hey, maybe their value will go up. And it didn't. and it didn't help. And then you got nothing for Eric Fetty. And you got 3 prospects from the Mets for Helsley, which if you go talk to a Mets fan, they're like, please, can we have those guys back? Helsley sucked for us. Can we redo that one? But we're talking about a guy in Alec Burleson who's been in the league for 2 seasons. Like, this isn't some journeyman guy that you picked up and things just so happen to work out and you should ship him off now before it all goes south again. This was a 2nd-round pick in 2020. He is supposed to be good for you. You didn't draft him just to trade him when he got to his prime. It's not what we do. These are the guys you build around. After Nato is gone, your next oldest everyday position players are Wilson Contreras, who he'd probably be gone if he didn't have a no-trade clause. Then you got Donnie, who they're talking about trading. And then it's Newton Burly as far as everyday position players. They're going to be your 27-year-olds. Like, you got to keep some people. Now, the next argument is his lack of position versatility and power. Now, I agree that he is not much of an outfielder. Maximum effort, which we appreciate, but he's limited just because of his athletic makeup. He's got a good arm, but, the speed and everything, it's just not, it's not what you normally would want in the outfield. Although you have a very athletic guy in right field by the name of Jordan Walker, who has a very tough time playing the outfield. So it isn't always about athletic ability, but, and we don't know if he's even good at first base yet. I have no idea. He hasn't played there enough. But when you got a guy that has his track record in college, in the minors, now in the pros, that has just been a consistent, really good hitter, sometimes you got to sacrifice things to get him on the field. Not everybody is going to be a 5-tool dude who can just do everything. He's most certainly not a slugger when you talk about his power. 20 home runs is kind of where he lives. Could he get to 25 at some point? Perhaps. Maybe. Again, he's only had 2 full years in the pros. There is a thing called progression. He could get better. Like, why is it always just accepted that he's going to be worse next year? Why can't he get better? And let's not pretend that power hitting outfielders are just falling off trees either, by the way. You know how many NL outfielders had more than 25 home runs this year? Five. Juan Soto. Juan Soto led the NL with 43 among outfielders. Corbin Carroll, Pete Crow Armstrong, and James Wood, some very nice young studs in the league, each hit 31. And the Dodgers' Andy Pages hit 27. That is the list in the NL who had more than 25 home runs last year. The AL had 10 guys do it. So you got 15 outfielders in the whole league with more than 25 dingers. So don't make it sound like he's way down here. He's not hitting 5 and 6 home runs, you guys. It's not like that bad. And then over at first base, we could take this over to first base. The AL had 5 and the NL had 4 as far as guys who hit over 25 home runs. But most of them were not hitting 290 of qualified first basemen in the AL. Only one hitter hit over 290. That was Vladdy Guerrero Jr., who just signed a monster deal with Toronto. He batted 292. In the NL, it was Freddie Freeman, future Hall of Famer, hitting 295. And then Luis Ariz at 292 has won the batting crown a few times, but has no pop whatsoever. That's it. OPS-wise, Burly was 5th amongst NL first basemen behind some pretty big names. Pete Alonso, Freddie Freeman, the Cubs' Michael Busch, Matt Olson in the Braves, Bryce Harper. That's it. Pretty stellar names. And Busch was this breakout guy this year. If the Cardinals could figure out any possible way to get him out, hit 9 home runs against them, his numbers will be worse. In the American League, the 801 OPS of Burly would be ranked third behind the Yankees' Ben Rice and Vladdy Jr. And that's it. Now, if Burly comes back this year and falls flat on his face and for some reason is terrible, then I invite all of you to come back and point and laugh and call me names. And that's fine. You can do it. Throw rocks at me, eggs, tomatoes, whatever you want. But his track record says it's probably not going to happen because everywhere he's played, he's hit every level. And now he's doing it at the major league level. Another argument, can't hit lefties. That was true until this past year when he proved us all wrong and hit 271 against lefties. He crushes righties. OPS 830 against them and got much better against lefties in 2025. Again, someone comes at you with a wild offer, a couple of top-tier pitching prospects that you cannot say no to, then you for sure think about it. They want young, controllable starting pitching. That's what they want. But who's doing that? Who's giving you that? Who's giving away top-tier young starting pitchers for Alec Burleson, who is, all of these limitations you guys give me? If he's that bad, why would anybody give you that stuff? So for all the reasons I tell you he's good, you're still going to look at him through your human eyes and say, he's not athletic enough. He's not fast enough. Do I need him running down balls in center field? No, I don't. Is he going to kill me all season in the outfield? Probably not. Yeah, he's probably going to look goofy on some plays. He's also going to DH at times. He's going to play some first base at times. He's not going to be in the corner outfield every night. And as long as that bat keeps cracking baseballs, I'll figure the rest out as I go. But I need the offense. I do. Leave your thoughts and comments below. You're the GM. Is he staying? Is he going? We'll wrap things up with Arizona Fall League updates that include a Pitcher of the Week award for a Cardinal prospect. That's coming up on Locked On Cardinals. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA, even if you miss the start of the game, which happens to me pretty much every game. I couldn't tell you the last time I saw a tip-off. I'm always late for stuff. Maybe you just want to ride the hot hand of a game that's going on, and you're like in the third and fourth quarter. FanDuel's got live bets on everything, from who's going to score next to those fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can combine your live bets into a same-game parlay and get a shot at an even bigger payout. It's going to keep everything more exciting for you, which is what you want in the first place. you've got your superstars, all right? We know the names. Denver's Nikola Jokic. San Antonio's Victor Wembanyama. The Lakers' Luka Doncic. I saw that LeBron got into the G League, got a sign there, so he's going to be coming back for the Lake Show soon. But you've also got to think about other guys that aren't the faces of the NBA. People like Detroit's Cade Cunningham. Russell Westbrook has been doing great things with Sacramento. Stefan Castle with the Spurs. Jaime Jaquez with Miami. I just picked him up on my fantasy team, dude. He's been killing it. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Head to FanDuel.com, sign up, and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. For your second listen, check out Locked On MLB, hosted by my guy, Sully. Going to bring you a daily blend of humor and baseball throughout the offseason. You can find Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. John Denton at MLB.com had a nice write-up at MLB.com. You can at Cardinals.com as well. So you can check that out if you want to, where he goes a little more in-depth to what information I'm going to give you here about the Arizona Fall League prospects. Cardinals have quite a few there. Only one of their MLB pipeline top 30 are there, but that particular guy ended up just winning the Pitcher of the Week award. Chen-Wei, the 23-year-old 6'7" right-hander. He's ranked number 16 according to MLB Pipeline in the Cardinals organization, won the Week 5 pitching honors. Joe Trezza at MLB.com had this to say about Len. It's been more of a rebound this fall for Len, who endured a rocky 2025 regular season while pitching at 3 levels and allowed 9 earned runs in his first 4 outings in the Fall League. But this week, he put together one of the best starts by any Fall League hurler, striking out 5 across 3 innings of one-hit ball for Glendale when they beat Peoria on Thursday. The performance gave Len 19 strikeouts and 12 and a third innings this fall, and he leads the circuit with 3 victories while surrendering only 1 home run in 5 appearances. So nice. 6'7" too. You gotta love that. As far as the other prospects go, Denton had to say this about him. Right fielder, I heard of his name pronounced a couple of different ways. One guy called him Michael. There's been Miguel. Ugueto is one way to say it. Ugueto is another way people have said it. If you know the difference, let me know. I think it's Ugueto, though. But played at 3 levels last year. Double-A Springfield is where he was at last. Hit 328, 2 doubles, a homer, and 14 RBIs in 16 Fall League games. Yeah, I'll take that. Hit the game-tying 2-run single in Sunday's Fall Stars game. So that's pretty cool. So Miguel Ugueto, yes, good stuff. Right-handed pitcher, Darlene Saladin. I always screw that one up. Darlene Saladin has worked mostly in relief. Compiles a 1-0 record, 0.82 ERA in 11 innings. Gave up a run while taking the loss in Sunday's Fall Stars game, but he's been a pleasant surprise in the Arizona Fall League as far as the Cardinals prospects go. The rest of these are not so great. Outfielder Travis Honeyman, 3rd-round pick back in 23, hitting just 171. He's got 2 home runs, a double, 3 stolen bases, and 7 RBIs in 12 games. You want that batting average up there a little bit. The rest of the stuff's not that bad, though. The other 3 pitchers for the Cardinals have also struggled. Randall Clemente, 7 relief outings, 7.11 ERA, 6 1/3 innings. Opposition's hit 321 against them. Tyler Bratt, 7 outings in the AFL, 5.68 ERA over 6 1/3. And then you got DJ Carpenter, who's the other real tall guy, 6'8" right-hander, has allowed 6 earned runs in 6 innings. They've also got catcher Grayson Tarlow there. He's got 5 hits and 5 walks and 1 ribby in 31 at-bats. So there's your update on what's going in the Arizona Fall League. Leave your comments, suggestions, thoughts. Leave them below. Big thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, give us a follow. We're on X at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio, TikTok, Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. Like, subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already to help our channel and love for the Cardinals grow. You guys are the best fans in baseball for a reason. I'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.